Personal notice. Danger's my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
Why the frown, pal? Worried about that lawnmower you lent the guy next door 2 years ago? Not just because he lost his memory when he went 10 rounds with Lewis is no reason to get yourself in a snit. My advice to you is let George do it. You know George Valentine. Take your problems to him. Everybody else does. You'll find him in the phone book. That's where Abner found him, only Brooksy got him first. Brooksy fronts for George. And even over the phone, you'd know she's perfect for the job. But not our Abner. All he could do was confuse the issue.
Hello?
I would, but I can't, you see. It's a great ad. I've seen it lots of times. Oh, a great ad, I said to myself. There's the kind of a guy that when a guy's in a pinch can...
just a minute, Mr. Valentine.
I'll get on the extension, Angel.
Hello? I haven't got much time,
Yeah,
see?
I'm right here. I got it. No time to write, but who are you? What's your problem?
Now, this is a real pleasure, sir. If you'll permit me, my name is Abner, and I'm in jail.
You what?
Only don't get me wrong. The reason I can't write is because I can't write. You understand?
Wait a minute. You said you were...
That's right, I'm in jail. And let me tell you, a more unjust thing has never happened to me. There ain't no justice.
Mr. Abner, slow down a little. I'm trying to write
It's
this.
important, that's all. There wouldn't be time to write either, I guess, for that matter. But the main thing is it's important. That's what I've got to make you understand, see? You get me?
Oh, sure, you make it so easy.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of excited. Because, you see, the jail burned down.
What?
Oh, yeah, and you burned down with it.
Now, hold on. I mean the jail over in Melody. That's where I'm calling from.
Melody? Over in the valley?
Yes, sir, that's the one. And a beautiful little town it is for tarantulas. But that old jail, let me tell you, was the biggest eyesore in...
Hold it, will you? Now say something sensible or hang up.
But I am. I mean, just 'cause I can't write. Listen, the fire was last night. They moved us out, that's all. Now we're locked up in the sheriff's office. That's how I could get to the phone.
Clear as a bell.
Listen to me. I got out of the fire, understand? Only one of the guys in the big cell, he didn't. He's dead. And if I tell what I know about it, I'll be dead too.
What?
I mean it. It's a rough deal. Get over here, will you? If you don't help me, if they make me tell what I know, they'll burn me.
I wonder if this Abner's telling the truth. Could be he's taking George on a wild goose chase. Well, all I know is my friend here won't lead you astray because what he has to say is straight and to the point. Lead on, Macduff. You made every word live, son. Now let's see if George and Brooksy can do as much for Abner. Oh, that's them pulling up in front of the sheriff's office.
Well, that's the sheriff's office, George.
Yeah, sure needs a coat of paint, all right. But I guess this is the place that dopey guy on the telephone...
Hey! Psst. That's you, Valentine?
Yeah. Only where in the name...
The alley, George.
Here. Right here. Hurry up. Don't let anybody see you.
Okay. You're Abner, huh?
But I thought you said you were locked up
Right
inside...
you are, lady. Transferred all of us here when the jail burned down. Only now I'm nuts, see?
Well, how did you get out?
They turned us loose. I just dropped into town for a little game. A slight flutter of the pasteboards, and wham, they picked me up. But the way they treat you in this town, you'd think you'd murdered a whole city block. We got in the way and they turned us loose.
I don't blame them.
Kicked me out and told me to get out of town without even giving me a free meal. Can you imagine? There ain't no justice.
Oh, now listen, Buster. I drove 4 hours just so I could try to make sense out of what you said on the phone.
Sure. So let me tell you just what...
Oh, no, you don't. I'll tell you. We stopped at the scene of the fire on our way in. You weren't lying. There was a fire.
Well, that's what
Furthermore, a prisoner who was hauled in last night, another gentleman like yourself, didn't get out. He died in that fire.
It's plain to see you got the facts. But I don't know his name. Nobody knows his name.
Sure. But it was a plain, simple death so far as anybody knows. So, Abner, whatever you know had better be
He
good.
was dead before the fire.
What?
You heard me. In a big jammed-up cell. Conditions are terrible here, I tell you. In that big snoring mass of men, that guy was already dead as a mackerel.
How do you know?
Because when the fire started, I tried to rescue him, that's why. Because I put my hands on him and shook him and practically got frozen for my trouble. Body cold as ice, I tell you.
All right, we get the idea.
Well, why didn't you tell the police?
Because they're mixed up in it, that's why. In some way. I tell you, in this town, they got a chief of police.
Oh, now, wait a minute.
His name's McNabb, and he's crooked as a cactus. For instance, you know what? He beats me. Hauls me into his office and beats me. You don't believe me? Ask Hank. Hank, come over here.
Hank?
He was there. He knows.
Hello, everybody.
Hank, huh?
I beg your pardon? Whiskers do not measure a man, nor the patches in his pants. How do you do? Pleasure, young lady. Pleasure indeed.
Now listen, Mr. Valentine. Hank here was visiting my humble abode.
Humble abode?
A small place, not too elegant. As for that big guy, the guy who died, we did entertain him. Hank and I invited him to share our diggings a couple of days ago.
Don't exaggerate, Abner. Your room is a dump. And you didn't even know the guy's name. I remember you said hello, and I said hello, and he says, oh. Fascinating fellow.
What do you know about his death, Hank?
It's just what Abner's told you, I suppose. It's no skin off my neck. I don't like people who won't talk. I doubt if even he said 3 words to the cop who threw him in.
You mean when he was arrested?
Rounded up a whole bunch of us. Guess they do it every Saturday night in this town. That's the cross we have to bear. And I may say a draftier jail cell.
Now listen, that guy didn't die of no cold.
He didn't look any too well. I wouldn't be surprised if the fright and the excitement of the fire...
It was a treatment he got, I'm telling you, the rough way that
What
they had...
rough treatment? What kind of stuff are you guys trying to
Beat you, that's what they do. Round you up. Say, change your clothes and into the tank you go. No chance to argue or nothing. I tell you that McNabb's a regular Gestapo.
Oh, get off the soapbox, Abner. Live and let live. Take it easy. There's no excitement.
Okay, Abner, okay. Where do I find this chief of police?
Oh, no, you don't. I'm not going to come within 5 miles
I
of that.
wouldn't ask you to. Hey, you, Hank, come on, lead the way.
How did I get dragged into this?
Quit kicking, friend. I could ask the same question myself.
So they say he died somehow before the fire, is that right?
Yes, Chief, they said that...
Now, wait just a minute how you use that word they. It's Abner who said...
Oh, get out of here. Go on, beat it.
Look out, Chief. Don't hit me.
What? What did you say?
Well, I haven't done anything, and when you talk like that, Abner says
Go
you
on,
always...
Hank, go on. We don't need you.
Well, sure, if you say so. I didn't mean any harm. Pleasant morning to you, Chief.
Huh. There's a wreck of a man. Big words, little work. Well, what are you looking at me like that for? I suppose you expect me to hit people, too?
All right, now just take it easy, Chief, will you? I know what kind of a guy Abner is. But I also saw that jail that burned, and it wasn't exactly a model one for as big a town as this.
Sure, my fault. Blame it on the chief. Wouldn't have anything to do with how much money the town gives me to run this force, would it?
Skip it, will you?
There was no connection between the fire and that other bum's death.
Uh-huh. Unless somebody set the fire in order to get rid of some evidence, like a blow or a bullet, just in case that death wasn't natural, I mean.
Oh, but George, that doesn't make any sense. All that trouble just to get rid of some unknown, a man nobody cared about?
Now, look, both of you, I want to...
Excuse me, Chief.
Oh, get out of here, Sergeant.
I thought you ought to see that dead guy's clothes.
What?
Well, here, from the wing of the jail that wasn't burned, where they changed.
Hey, you mean what he was wearing when he was thrown in? Here, let me see that.
I'll do that, mister. 11 cents change, huh? Big man. Typical vagrant, I tell you. He was just...
No, here, Chief, piece of paper. So many on a Saturday night, we don't really have time to go over them, you know.
Let me see that. Mr. Walter F. Smith.
Who?
Yeah, mystery's solved, Chief. That's his name, apparently. Suggest you stick pretty closely to plenty of milk. Leave out too much starch. Be careful of pepper or any seasoning.
What's that?
That's all. Some doctor's name, Kansas City. Yeah, diet list, Chief. So he was just a nobody, huh?
Oh, no.
Well, what's the matter? I should think that would help.
Chief
get a
just
fight.
realizes he might be in a worse spot than ever, right, McNabb?
Very smart, Valentine. You catch on real quick.
Negligence, Angel. If there was anything wrong with this guy, then the police should have found out about it. Maybe he needed help instead of a cell.
Go on, get out of here. I got work to do.
Oh, wait a minute, sir. There's something else.
Now, look, Sergeant, you've caused enough trouble yourself for one day.
I'm sorry, Chief, but over at the morgue, there's a woman. She says she's Mrs. Walter F. Smith.
His wife?
Well, I guess, or used to be. Anyway, she's been looking for him several months. Read about this in the newspaper. Just flew into town on a hunch to look at the body.
Flew in? The wife of a typical nobody?
I mean, you better see her, Chief. I mean, she wears a mink coat.
Of course there's nothing I can tell you. What could I tell you? Don't be ridiculous. I'm going back to my hotel.
Look, I know how you feel, Mrs. Smith.
I don't know whether he was ill or not. I don't know anything about him lately.
But the chief of police asked
I'm
us to...
sorry. I've been through enough. Seeing Walter there like that.
Mrs. Smith, if you
my
don't...
My taxi's waiting. I'm sorry.
Which hotel?
Let her go. Leave her alone.
Huh?
Sure, wears a mink coat. Wife of a bum.
Well, we asked her to stay until
I
you'd
wanted to see what the teletype check said on his name, that's all.
Well?
Walter F. Smith is wanted by the law.
What?
Embezzlement.
Well... All right, what are you so sour about? If his death was the police's fault anyway, it's better for you than if he was a respectable citizen.
Hold still, I'll give you the facts. Have fun with them. In addition to Smith, his loot of $200,000 is also wanted.
Oh. Do you suppose someone found out what he did with it and then murdered him last night?
There you go, having fun already.
Take it easy, Chief. At least you're off the hook. So now everybody else is up to something, that's all. Yeah, as Abner puts it, there ain't no justice.
Our boy Valentine sounded a little burned up when he said there ain't no justice. And he's right. Where's the body he always stumbles on long about now? This could ruin his reputation. You know, I'd ask my friend here to drop dead, except I know he has something pretty good to tell you. Now let's get back and see if George's temper has improved. Not that I blame him. Abner would make anybody see red. If you remember, Abner is the old coot that accused Chief of Police McNabb of barbecuing a fellow prisoner by burning down the pokey. As an added touch, Abner swears the victim was dead before he got the hot foot. Then, to make matters more complicated, the chief discovers the body belonged to a Walter Smith, who was wanted for taking $200,000 that didn't belong to him. Complicated? You bet. But George has it figured. He says it's murder. Even so, I think I better lend our boy a hand as he starts asking questions around town. I have a landlady, George.
Walter Smith came to town a couple of days ago. You must have noticed something about him, or he must have had some baggage that you...
I'm a working woman, Mac. I don't have time to sit around and gab with the guests. I just thought he was a drifter like the rest of them, that's all. And he had no baggage. I can tell you that in one word, no baggage.
2 words. But you notice baggage, huh? Keep your eye out for that sort of thing?
I gotta protect it, you know. Don't want nothing stolen from the guests.
Uh-huh. Nothing in his bureau?
Oh, spare shirt, maybe. How should I know? I'm telling you like I told McNabb. Smith was here, but I didn't notice him until he wasn't here. Last night. And somebody said he was in jail.
Who said?
Guy named Abner. Seemed all upset.
Oh, yeah. They're rounding up Abner again.
Ain't that interesting? Look, if you're through
Here's
nosing
your
around...
newspaper.
Huh?
Yeah, it's today's newspaper. Room hasn't been occupied since yesterday. And I don't know who else would read the fashion page around here.
Thanks.
Now, you've been going through this room. What did you find?
Nothing. Gee, $200,000 they say he's got someplace. But I'm telling you, not a thing, not any baggage, not nothing.
You expect me to believe that?
George.
Yeah, in here, Brooksy.
George, I can't find him.
Oh, if you're looking for me, dearie...
Mrs. Smith, his wife. I tried every hotel in town.
That taxi driver who drove her away from the morgue?
Well, the police had already located the driver. He says he dropped her off downtown here in the business section.
Oh.
What are you two talking about? You know something I don't?
I doubt it. Come on, Angel. I've learned all I need to.
So it wasn't the fault of the big, bad police, Valentine. I just talked long distance to that doctor in Kansas City, the one whose name was on the diet chart.
What'd you find out, Chief?
There was nothing really wrong with Smith's health. He was one of them hypochondriacs, warriors, pill takers. Doc finally booted him out.
All right. So the police are pure. Did you locate that Abner for me?
I haven't done anything for you, but I'll take you down to a garage if you want.
A garage?
Smith's wife. She went down to this garage and rented a car. Only now the car's back and she's disappeared.
I don't know where she went when she took the car.
But didn't you see Mrs. Smith when she came back to your garage?
Oh, she was gone about an hour, I guess. Anyways, I didn't notice the car till just a few minutes ago, parked here in the alley.
Yeah, it's been someplace with a lot of dust.
I got the sergeant around combing the town for her. She's back. She's got to be around someplace.
You sure about that?
Why not?
Well, I didn't have much luck. And I must have been looking after she came back.
22 miles.
What?
Well, you set the speedometer back to 0 when you hire a car out, don't you?
Well, that's right.
So, wherever she went, it was 11 miles out and 11 miles back.
With all that dust, too. Now, look, a piece of sagebrush.
What's ticking in your head?
Most of the roads around here are paved. There's only a couple
This is grape country, irrigated most of it, so how did that sagebrush get there?
Come on, hop in my car. I'll show you. This is the third and last road.
10.5 miles.
Yeah, plenty of sagebrush on this one.
Yeah, old AA place. Sold out and cut the water off. Hey, wait a minute.
What's that building over there?
Abandoned winery. Only the mileage...
Wait a minute, hold it. Stop. Tracks. Right there. See him turning off?
Yeah, only there's 2 cars.
Yeah, there's one right there.
What?
An old pickup truck, see? Beyond the building.
Hey, you!
It's Abner and Hank, George.
Hey, look out, skip on it!
Abner!
Wait for me, Abner. I didn't do anything.
Stop, both of you!
Get away from that truck!
Wait, Abner. We haven't done anything, my boy.
Stop or I'll shoot!
McNabb's with him, come on!
Hey, slow down, Hank.
I'm not doing anything.
Okay, Hank, your friend left you, that's all. Oh, cut it out, McNabb. He got away. Let him go.
But if I don't get after him right now...
Abner was just looking for you, Mr. Valentine. We just got here. A garage man told him you were out trying some roads or something, so he borrowed the truck and grabbed me along.
Skip it. Radio the highway patrol, McNabb. They'll get him. And take Miss Brooks into town for me.
What? Who do you think is chief of police in this town?
I've told her what I want.
Help me. I hurt my foot a little.
Okay. I'll take care of Hank here. Only get your car away from here, McNabb, quick.
Okay.
All right, cool off, Hank. We'll just wait. In the shade. If we can find it.
How long are we going to wait, Mr. Valentine?
Oh, relax, Hank. Sun'll set in a couple of hours.
A couple of hours. Then it'll be just as bad. It gets real cold out here in the evening. Goes through your bones. I don't know how I got into this crazy...
Yeah, sure I know. Abner brought you out here with him, huh? Abner got me into this because he already had a little idea who Smith really was. Does that check?
I guess so, Mr. Valentine. I don't know.
Sure. You were all in jail together. Abner thought maybe I could help point him toward the money. Is that right?
I guess he thought that because Mrs. Smith came out here, well, then the money was out here, too.
Yeah. It might be.
You really think so? Well, in that case, while everybody's gone, maybe you and I...
No. It's too hot. No, we'd never find it, Hank. Let the police worry.
Abner doesn't trust McNabb. That's why he took off.
I know it. But he'll be back, looking for the money.
Look, Mr. Valentine, was this guy Smith murdered?
I don't know.
Holy smoke. Maybe he killed himself.
Well, it could have happened. Only it doesn't tie with anything very well.
Come on, we're losing our shade. Let's move. Maybe Smith was just not in too good health and kicked off. A man has to take care of himself.
Yeah, you're right.
Here's a good place.
The winery?
Yeah. Ought to be cool inside here, don't you think?
Okay.
Boy, It's dark. What in the name of...
Hey, what happened? Did you fall?
I'm all right. Look. I tripped. Look.
Mrs. Smith. The body of Mrs. Smith.
Oh, thank goodness, at last a body. Too bad it had to be Mrs. Smith. But you know the old saying, here today and ghoul tomorrow. Anyway, while George is getting to the bottom of this, I want my friend here to dish a little off the top. You know, there's an ironic twist to this story. It all takes place in a town called Melody. As far as I can see, it's been one discord after another. And this fella Hank isn't helping matters with his off-key baritone.
Look, I don't like it around here, and it's cold even in here. I told you it'd be cold tonight.
Quiet, will you? Don't make so much noise.
But she's been dead a long time.
Hit over the head. Yeah, I can see for myself. So somebody else drove the car back. She drove out and somebody else drove it back. That's more like it.
Well, I'm getting nervous. Somebody'll be back here.
Yeah, you're right. All we know about her is that her husband left her. He was hiding out, posing as a bum. So she came after him to get the money.
Do you mean to say the money was here?
I mean, I've caught on to this case, that's all. Mrs. Smith didn't know where her husband was. How could she know where the money was if he was dead before she got to town?
Oh, for the love of...
Okay, I'll stop talking riddles.
You hear that?
Yeah, we got company.
Get back in here. He can't see
Wait a
us.
minute, hold it.
McNabb.
Valentine?
Oh, yeah, right here, Chief.
Oh, holy smoke, Chief. We thought you might be somebody else.
Where's Miss Brooks?
Out in the car. We haven't located Abner yet.
Did you two find what I told Brooksy about?
Yeah. Pills, medicines, a small drugstore.
Okay, where was it?
First place you suggested. But I doubt if it'll do much good as
I
evidence.
know it, but I got a better idea. Go on back to the car.
Okay, sure.
Say, what's the idea? What's so funny?
Well, you might not see the joke, Hank. Sit down. We're going to wait some more. For days if we have to.
Wait. What for?
A confession.
What?
Yeah, a man named Smith was a fugitive from the law, and from his wife, too. Had money and plenty of trouble, and worst of all, he was sure he was sick. So the money couldn't give him much fun, could it? End result? He was hiding on Skid Row when he got an idea. Why not die?
Look, I'm cold, and I'm dying of riddles.
He did just that. He died of murder. And afterwards set fire to the jail he was in, so his body couldn't be examined too closely.
He what?
And it all worked beautifully until his wife showed up. She kept her mouth shut when she saw the body, but afterwards must have spotted Smith herself, and so he brought her out here and he killed her. Probably told her the money was here, when really I suppose it's stashed away in Kansas City or anyplace else.
I'll say you don't know anything. You're
I
so mixed
caught
up.
on when I found Smith's room had no baggage. That's where the pill-taker's private drugstore should have been. But of course it wasn't. They were with your stuff, Walter F. Smith. That's where McNabb found it.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, the man you killed was just a poor penny ante gambler. A man you knew hardly ever opened his mouth. No one knew anything about him. He'd never be missed. So you knocked him over the head, I suppose, when all the rest of the men were asleep.
I don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Valentine.
And then you put that diet chart in his clothes. Oh, not a bad stunt. Make the police think they might have done a pretty terrible thing. Make them want to cover it up and keep it quiet.
I won't admit any of it. There's nothing you can do to
Oh,
me.
Buster, what an ironic spot you sit on. Oh, you cold? Oh, well, come on, let's have a brandy. You know, I remember the items on that diet list. Milk, no pepper, just bland stuff. So the guy it was written for must have been worried about his stomach. Come on, Hank, have a brandy. Little sharp, maybe, kind of strong for some stomachs, maybe, but for you it'll...
I don't want it.
Too bad you didn't have the sense to stay away from here. Just curious, I guess.
Shut
huh?
up, shut up.
Look, Mr. Smith, if all I've said isn't true, well, go ahead, have a drink. There's nothing wrong with you. The diet chart wasn't yours.
Shut up!
And after you're really hungry, we'll go in for a nice, spicy Mexican dinner, maybe. There'll be no excuse for you not to eat it, will there be?
Cut it out!
After all, you're okay. You can eat anything. Go on, have a drink. All right, come on, Mr. Smith. Miss Brooks will take it down in shorthand. And then we're going back to town and find Abner. And see how he can take some gentle persuasion. Abner, I want you to get out of melody and keep going.
And right now...
Look out. Don't you hit me again, Chief.
Oh, I've never hit you. Nobody on my force has
Abner,
ever...
listen, will you? The chief here is all right. With a little publicity on this case, maybe the town will wake up and give him the money his department needs. But, Abner, I am not a cop. I'd be glad to hit you.
No, you wouldn't.
That's what you think. I don't like being played for a sucker, so start moving.
No, look, I know I did a lot of lying to get you into the case. I figured we could make some dough together.
Here goes.
No.
Thanks, friend, thanks. That guy sure was a headache.
Oh, don't mention it. Okay, Brooksy, let's go.
All right, George.
So long, McNabb. So long. Well, where you been, Angel? Seems to me you kind of dropped out of things.
Miss me?
Oh, well, I was busy with the case.
Never mind. As Abner used to say, there ain't no justice.
Say, did you ever see a dream walking? Maybe not, but you just saw a bell burning. Brooksy. And if she'll be good enough to hold that torch she's carrying a little closer, I'll be able to read that Robert Bailey plays George Valentine with Virginia Gregg as Brooksy. Don Clark directed the script by David Victor and Jackson Gillis, and Eddie Dunstedter's music kept things blazing. I'd like you to make a mental note right now to save a half hour for us next time, when you will hear what happens when you let George do it.
Personal notice. Danger's my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
You know something, friend? You look lousy with that gun in your back. Of course, if you're trying to cure your lumbago the hard way, forget I told you. However, if that gat's starting to make a bad impression, why not remove it the easy way? Let George do it. You'll get rid of it or your money back. George doesn't mind taking chances. He figures the odds this way. If he does a job, he's money ahead. If he doesn't, you won't be around to collect anyway, so why worry? On the other hand, everybody doesn't have your problem. Take old Mr. Stengel, for instance. To look at him as he drives down a backcountry road, you'd never think he had a care in the world.
Oh, carry me back to old Virginia. That's where they... Hey, what? Hey, you! Get away from there, lady! Look out! Get away from that railing. Don't you know there's a river down there? What do you think?
Let go of me.
Hey! Oh, holy smoke. You're Mrs. Blair, ain't you?
Who'd you think I'd be? A water sprite?
Well, I'm sorry, but, gee, I seen you there by the railing. I mean, it's a good 35-foot drop, you know, and this bridge ain't been repaired for years.
I know. And you're out delivering milk. No. Don't look over, you'll get dizzy.
Well, I sure didn't mean to offend you in any way.
It's my view, as it is yours, isn't it?
Here, I'll give you a ride over to your place if you like.
Oh, let go of me. Oh, I'm sorry. You frightened me, that's all. I was just standing here, and you frightened me. No, thank you. I'll walk. It's a beautiful day, isn't it?
Holy smoke.
Well, I know one thing. I'm sure glad Mrs. Blair didn't jump. Think of the repercussions if you'd been fishing that day. Would have been awful to explain to Mr. Blair that you just caught his wife. On the other hand, it's easy as pie for my friend here to explain almost anything. If you don't believe me, just lend an ear. That's using your head, pal. Now let's see if old Mr. Stengel used his. Well, what do you know? He just walked into George Valentine's office.
I know it's none of my business,
You
but...
thought the woman was trying to jump. Is that it, Mr. Stengel?
Well, I'll tell you, Miss Brooks, I don't want to commit myself. I don't know.
Then why did you call me?
Oh, now, don't chase me around the barn so much, Mr. Valentine. I don't want to start any excitement, but they're nice people. Husband's a wonderful fella. Nicest guy you'd ever care to meet.
Okay. Tell me some more about Mrs. Blair.
Well, Mr. Valentine, she really ain't been around here so much. More of a city type, you know what I mean? At least they're not joiners or bridge players. The places are pretty far apart out here. I thought she was away someplace.
Where's Mrs. Blair been, do you know?
Search me. It's none of my business.
You apparently liked her husband. Why didn't you call him after this happened?
Well, I did, but there weren't no answer. Then after I called you, I noticed his tractor out there, just working the field over, that's all. But by then, I figured I might as well keep my mouth shut.
Mr. Blair's a farmer like you are?
Oh, no. Artist. You know, one of them fellas paints pictures. Pretty good ones, too. Only he's not so good on cows. Draws them all with straight line.
Emmett Blair?
Yeah, that's the one. That's his name. I wouldn't be surprised. He's got a reputation.
Yes, he has.
Owns a nice farm. Really works it, too. Oh, he's a wonderful fellow, he is. He don't associate much, and he's kind of sad looking at times. I don't speak his language, maybe, but, well, he speaks mine.
Mr. Stengel, the point is you don't want to offend this guy, Blair, but you're curious. You don't know him very well, and you know his wife less. But today you saw her very unhappy and maybe thinking about suicide.
No, hold on. I don't believe in jumping at conclusions, but there's been things that, well, I don't want nothing bad to happen, that's all.
There's been things like what?
Well, I'm not a gossip. But in the past, well, it was something the local doctor told me once. Always stuck in my mind. Oh, but I'm not going to tell you. That's up to him. Dr. Fee. I don't want Doc thinking that I shot my mouth off with ethical secrets.
All right, Mr. Stengel. You just want us to look into it. We will. We'll call Dr. Fee. But in the meantime, I'm going to play it straight.
What do you mean?
Well, see something you don't understand, why not go find out? Come on, Angel. We're going to call on the Blairs.
No. It couldn't have been my wife. Stengel must be mistaken.
You say your telephone's upstairs, Mr. Blair?
Oh, yes, Miss Brooks. Go right ahead. Turn to the left.
Oh, thank you.
Mistaken, Mr. Blair? Stengel's met her before.
But my wife's not here now. In fact, she won't be here until later this evening. I'm going to meet her train.
Where's Mrs. Blair been?
Well, I scarcely think that's important, do you? See here, why didn't the old fool go after her if she was so upset?
He said he did afterwards, but couldn't find her. She'd run off toward the highway anyhow.
Oh, well, the bus has run.
Yeah.
Now, of course, she could be... Oh, no, this is ridiculous.
Well, why is it ridiculous, Mr. Blair?
What? Well, my wife just isn't the type to commit suicide, Mr. Valentine.
Well, it might not have been that. Oh, incidentally, Stengel did try to find you, but you were out in the field.
Yes, I've been out cultivating all day. Excuse me, will you please? I want to get into that desk.
Oh, sure, Mr. Blair.
Of course, I appreciate your coming over about this, you know. I don't understand it, but
Well, I stopped to talk to a kid coming up the lane. He was under the impression your wife was here yesterday.
I don't blame you for your curiosity. No, Mary wasn't here. In fact, she's seldom been here in the past 10 years. Which is not very important either. No, he must have noticed Cecile, that's all.
Cecile?
Yes, I'm an artist. Artists have models. Well, go on, say something nasty.
Why should I?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm awfully sorry. Forgive me, I am just upset. Cecile's a very lovely person, a very close friend, nothing more. Very few people understand. I've been working on a portrait for the past week. But Cecile's gone now. Oh, yes, here we are. It's a phone number. Do you suppose Miss Brooks is through yet with that phone?
Yes, I am.
Huh? Oh, well, will you excuse me then? I want to phone the number where my wife's been visiting for the
The
past...
Clearview Rest Home.
Yes.
What else did you find out, Angel?
She went there 6 weeks ago because of a nervous breakdown.
Now, see here, what is this? What right have you
I've
two...
been talking to Dr. Durfee.
You've what?
George, that thing that Mr. Stengel was hinting at was that Dr. Durfee found some poison here once, in this house.
What?
Now, I've only...
He wouldn't tell me much more, but he used the word homicidal about the situation here.
Stop it. Now, listen to me, both of you. If he's a country quack, he doesn't...
Situation here?
My wife, naturally. All right, since you've pried this far, we haven't been close for years, but I've tried to do everything I could to help her, naturally, but they said at the rest home that Mary was perfectly all right, only a breakdown. I mean, well, this absurd situation goes back years and years, and oh, get out, will you? What's the use? I want to call that place and find out if she's
Let me call for you, Mr. Blair.
What?
I'm sorry I blurted out things like that, but I want you to show George your portrait.
What?
I bumped into the wrong room, I guess. This must be a lot worse than you think it is, because there's a painting upstairs of a woman...
Oh, yes, of course, Cecile. It's the one I just finished of her.
And the canvas has been slashed to pieces.
Oh, no. Oh, look at that. One of the best jobs I've ever done.
You didn't slash it yourself.
Why would I do that?
Okay. And you say the picture was all right when the model left?
Yes. My wife, of course. Who else would do a thing like that? She never loved me. I doubt if I'd loved her, but... Well, that's it. Jealous for the sake of jealousy.
Is that why you sent the model away?
No one else will ever have you, she said. I've been as patient as I could with her ridiculous emotional imaginings, her... Come on, I'll run out back and get the car.
Huh?
Well, Mary's obviously been here in the house, walked in and saw this portrait and slashed it. Well, let's get back up the highway. She must have gone someplace.
Okay, go on ahead. I'll get Miss Brooks.
All right, thanks. She left that Clearview place this morning, George.
Oh.
They thought she was coming here then directly. But she's perfectly all right, they say.
She was, huh?
I don't see how just a picture would be enough to upset her that badly.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I wonder if there's anything else around here to show what she did when...
Shall I call Mr. Blair?
No, let me get him. Hello?
Hello, Emmett?
No, this is George Valentine. I'm a friend of his. Is there a message you'd like to...
Oh, well, this is Anne, Mrs. Blair's sister.
Anne?
Yes, I'm at the railroad station, and she's not here. But I haven't eaten, and I want to go to a hotel.
Wait a minute. A railroad station?
Mr. Valentine, is my brother-in-law there, Emmett?
You want to talk to him?
No. Mary sent me this wire from Clearview several days ago asking me to come and meet her here at the train. But she wasn't on it.
Yes, I know. She apparently came earlier. What hotel were you talking about?
Well, is anything wrong?
Well-
Oh, the Plains Hotel, I guess. I have to eat first. I'm here with some friends.
Okay. I'll leave a message for you there. See you later.
But what is it? Mary's all right, isn't she? In this telegram, she said she wanted me to be with her when she went out there to her home. She didn't want to go there alone. What should I do?
I don't know, Anne. But don't worry. Now, my name's George Valentine, like I said. Remember it.
Seems a little ridiculous to have called the sheriff's office.
We want to find her, don't we?
Well, yes, of course. But if you hadn't stayed so long in the house, What kept you, anyway?
Nothing. Just getting a search started, that's all.
Poor Mary. She's always been so...
Listen.
Yeah, somebody's horn stuck. Hey, that's the bridge up there, isn't it?
Stengel. That's Stengel's truck.
It's just parked there.
Yeah. Hey, what's the matter with you, Stengel?
Saw your headlights. Afraid you'd turn off the other way. Wanted help.
George, there's blood on his face and his clothes are...
I'm all right. Scratched, that's all, but I twisted my ankle. Took me a half hour to get down there.
Well, what happened?
I tried to stop her. She was standing in the same place. I always drive out this time of night.
Who?
Well, I'm sorry, but by the time I crawled down there through the woods, over those rocks, current's too strong. Not hide nor hair of her.
Mary?
She jumped. I tried to stop her. She screamed and she jumped.
Come on.
No, now there's no use, Mr. Valentine. Current's too strong. By this time, there's a waterfall half a mile down.
Oh, no.
Oh, the poor thing. I don't understand it, but now it's happened, hasn't it? There was nothing anyone could do. Stengel saw her commit suicide. That's all there is to it.
Suicide. Or a perfect murder.
I guess this goes to show you can't argue with a woman. Mrs. Blair made up her mind she was going to drown her sorrows even if it killed her. And it did. Of course, someone might have helped to prove her point. But I have a fellow right here who never needs help to prove his. Prove a point, pal. You know, there are a couple of angles to this case that don't add. First of all, how come old man Stengel was around every time Mrs. Blair took a notion to dunk herself in the drink? And what was he doing with all those scratches on his puss? Did Mrs. Blair do it, or had he been playing patty cake with a wildcat? And where does Mr. Blair fit in? If he could mix plowing with painting, he also might be able to blend money and mayhem. But who did he hire to push wifey off the trestle? All I know is that even if Blair couldn't paint a cow, he's a past master at throwing the bull. Speaking of bull, here's a prime specimen. Only this bull doesn't have horns.
Well, the fact is the case is now officially closed, and I'm going home.
But why is it closed, Lieutenant Johnson?
Sheriff's office found the body down the river below the falls.
Oh.
Ground further up, I suppose. Wasn't easy to even find her after she'd been over that falls. All those sharp rocks.
Yeah, okay, skip it. I get the idea.
I don't know. Women like that, maybe she's happier. Had a lot of funny notions all her life, apparently.
Have you seen her husband?
Stopped by to tell him he's all right. Okay, so it doesn't upset him much. So what? They'd have been separated long ago if it hadn't been for her, for him trying to take care of her.
Yeah, sure. Nice guy.
Well, what's the matter with you?
Oh, I don't know. Come on, Angel.
Hey, where you going?
See that sister of hers that I talked to last night on the phone?
I already met her. She's on her way downtown to the morgue with one of the boys. What can she do? What can she tell you? There just isn't any case to look into.
Oh, sure, Lieutenant. No case at all. But I'll bet $5 you follow me out that door.
I don't know anything about them, really. I don't. It's been years since Mary and I...
Yeah, now look, I know this hasn't been pleasant, Anne.
I'm sorry, I can't help it. The doctor or somebody took me in there. Well, it's a horrible way to see a sister you haven't seen.
She sent you a wire. She didn't want you to go back to her home alone. She didn't want to go back alone. Is that right?
That's all she said. I don't know. I just assumed she still didn't feel very well and wanted some help.
Well, why didn't you assume she was having trouble with her husband?
Because I didn't know she was.
Hadn't you even heard of a woman named Cecile?
Who? Mr. Valentine, you talked strangely last night, and I didn't understand it. I know my brother-in-law has gone out with various women, but Mary knew that too.
Okay, Anne, okay.
But I want to take the bus out and see him. At least I've taken care of everything here at the coroner's office, and he ought to know that. I mean, is there any reason I shouldn't?
No, there isn't.
Huh?
Go on, miss, and thanks a
Oh,
lot.
now, wait a minute, Johnson. I'm just getting...
Go on. There's nothing more to be done. You'll just get all worked up sitting around here.
Whatever you say, Lieutenant.
Okay, so I'm getting nowhere. That isn't any reason to
His
barge in...
car is parked across the street. Come here.
What?
Look out the window. That green sedan over there.
Blair?
Coroner's office didn't realize there was another relative around, so they called him in.
Just sitting there.
But he's already been inside, don't you understand? While you were talking to the sister.
He's waiting for her, I guess.
Yeah? There she goes, but he doesn't stop her.
Huh? Yeah. Doesn't call her. Doesn't do anything.
Got his coat collar up. But he's watching her.
Well, now, look, I don't understand.
Coroner's man said it was all Blair could do to stand up when he come out of the morgue.
So what?
Valentine, I've been thinking over everything you told me. Once that there was poison at the Blair house, and nobody ever knew who had it there, did they?
Oh, so now you're getting the idea, huh? Hey, look, there she goes down the street.
And still he sits. Sure, I know Mrs. Blair killed herself, but I wonder which one it was that was really weird in that family. If his wife was driven into a nervous
Skip it, come on.
Hey, you, wait a minute.
Blair, just noticed you out here.
What? Oh, Valentine.
Why don't you come back inside?
Well, Lieutenant. Oh, yes. I'm just sitting here for a moment. No, I'm sorry. I have appointments to keep.
Your sister-in-law's in town. She was just up talking to us. Yeah.
Oh, is that so? I mean, yes, of course. I know.
Make up your mind what you're going to say.
Well, what's the matter? See here, I'm not overparked in this place, am I, or something?
What's the matter with you, Mr. Blair?
I'm afraid I don't feel very well. It's nothing at all.
What's the matter with your face?
Nothing. All right. I've been crying. Isn't that all right with you?
Crying?
Or I suppose you're so used to experiences like this, you wouldn't expect a man to behave normally. Get out of my way.
Hey, Mr. Blair, wait.
Leave me alone. Look out.
How do you like that? What in the... I'm going to get that guy. He's nuts. Did you hear the way he...
Yeah, sometimes murder can be so simple, can't it?
What?
You heard me, murder. Well, go on, catch him, step on it. Me, I'll take a different direction.
Valentine!
I've just waked up to the fact there's liable to be another murder unless I can stop it in time.
There's the turnoff, George.
Yeah, let's park it here a second. The bridge is only a couple of 100 yards.
You think we got here in time?
Sure. But I want to look at something first.
Well, if you take a bus, I suppose it stops at the intersection back there.
That's right. And then it's only half a mile walk across the bridge to Stengel's and Blair's.
George, you could walk on the road. You don't have
Wait
to
a minute
walk.
now. Just wanted to see the river, that's all.
You can't hear the falls from here.
No. Half a mile down. A couple of bends, I guess. Water looks deep under the bridge, doesn't it?
Yeah. George, look. No, by the road. Walking from the highway. There she is.
Oh, yeah. Come on, let's get back up there.
Are you sure, George, that you figured out...
I'm not sure of anything, Angel. Just don't want to take chances, that's all. But you didn't get any answer at that telephone number that I asked you to call before, and then...
What's the matter? What are you stopping for? It's Anne, George. Aren't you going to stop her before she gets out on the bridge?
Green sedan. Sure, she came straight out. Only where is...
Hey,
George, there he is.
don't be afraid. I'm not going to hurt you.
Wait a minute now.
I was coming to see you, Emmett.
Yes, I know. This is the place, isn't it?
Emmett, what's the matter with
You
you?
don't have to ask that.
Get away from me. I was coming to see you. Get away from me!
Wait a minute. Running won't do you any good.
Come on, step on it.
Stop. Wait till you stop. I'll get you no matter what.
George!
Emmett, don't, Emmett!
And nothing will help you.
No.
You're going to die like
Stop it!
she did.
Let go of her, Buster.
Valentine.
Take it easy now. Take it easy, will you please? You're all right.
I don't know what he was going to do. I was going to see him, but I don't know what he was going to do.
I know. That was your mistake, lady.
What?
Yeah, the poor guy's out of his mind, practically. I suppose he might have thrown you over the edge.
Get away from there.
No, not too far down. Water's deep. You could swim, all right.
Oh, don't get so near the edge. That's where Mary
Take it
jumped.
easy now. Take it easy. Everything's all right. You know, Emmett's mistake here was to cry.
What?
Yeah, that's right. Pretty hard thing for a man to fake, too.
George.
Come on, let's get off this bridge. Well, don't worry. I'll come back for him. He's pretty well out, but he'll be in shape to wind this up in a hurry.
What do you mean?
You know what I mean. Miss Brooks calls Cecile's house in Los Angeles. Nobody answers.
Cecile?
Take it easy now. You're all right.
Don't talk to me as though
I know. It was only a nervous breakdown.
George, what in heaven's name are you talking about?
Murder can be so simple, can't it? Big flash of temper, big flash of jealousy.
But Mr. Stengel saw Mary commit suicide.
Oh, no. He saw Mary jump, Angel, but it was dark. He couldn't see her in the water. He couldn't see whether she swam or sank.
No.
But it's Emmett there who tipped it. Big, suspicious husband. Shook like a leaf when he went to the morgue. Cried, really cried afterwards. Called Denver. I guess there really is a Sister Ann, isn't there?
Of course there is.
Who is still in Denver, right?
Oh,
All right, I'll make it real simple. Emmett Blair was in love, pretty hopelessly, I guess, with a girl named Cecile. He practically told me so. I should have believed him all along. Her picture was slashed by Emmett's wife, Mary, who came home unexpectedly too soon. It's Cecile's body that's at the morgue.
What did you say, George?
That's not true.
That's what shocked Blair so, what tipped him off, what upset him so much he might have committed murder himself.
Stop it!
Yeah,
Stop it!
yeah, that's right. It's Cecile's body. And you're Emmett's wife. You're Mary Blair. What's more, you killed Cecile.
Oh, no.
Those are mighty powerful words, George, and you better be ready to back 'em up. Right now, however, I would suggest you go get Mr. Blair back on his feet, while my friend here gets some things off his chest. George said earlier that this was almost a perfect crime. What could be more perfect than to be able to bump yourself off and live to tell the tale? I wonder where Mrs. Blair slipped up. Or if you'll take that ice bag off your head, Emmett, maybe you could tell us.
I didn't guess before I came to the morgue. How could I? Stengel had seen the whole thing and...
Mr. Blair, Stengel saw it twice. That's where your wife got the idea. Because what he saw the first time was Mary on the bridge, just after she'd managed to shove Cecile over the rail. Yeah, she got her out there to do it, I guess, and then hit her with something. Because she knew what had happened to a body that went over the waterfalls down below.
You mean identification would be almost impossible?
Yeah, she had a very neat plan, all right. Once the big temper wore off, the crazy jealousy, she decided that she would identify the body, which she did, posing as Sister Ann. An identification which nobody would question. She thought you'd protect her, as always.
Mary was a fine swimmer.
Yeah, that's right. That's what happened the second time Stengel saw it. She realized before that he thought she was trying to kill herself. So why not capitalize on it? Wait until his return trip in the evening and dive over. In the dark, she could swim ashore and go back up to the highway before he'd get down to the river.
Yes, perfect murder. She tried it before, you know.
Trying to use poison on you, you mean?
Yes, but I couldn't really believe it. It was my trouble, I suppose, never believing Mary was dangerous. It ended up with me almost committing murder.
No, you wouldn't have killed her. I know you didn't tell Johnson and me what you just discovered at the morgue, and I had to knock you down to stop you, but you wouldn't have killed her.
Thank you.
Come on, George.
Yeah, sure. Goodbye, Mr. Blair.
Goodbye.
George, I bet he would have killed her.
Yeah.
After all she'd done to him.
No.
After killing Cecile.
No.
After trying to come back to the house as her own sister.
No. You see, a man can go just so far, and then his own censor goes to work on it. Don't you understand?
A man can go just so far, and then his censor makes him stop?
Yeah, sure.
Well, as far as your romantic inclinations go, I can understand that, all right.
Georgie, I got a big TL for you. Now, either you tell that censor of yours to loosen up and give a little, or you better start thinking of a few choice last words, because any day now you're going to need 'em. And if you can't think of any right off, well, you might say that George Valentine is played by Robert Bailey, with Virginia Gregg as Brooksy. Don Clark directed the script by David Victor and Jackson Gillis, and that pounding in E-flat minor was Eddie Dunstetter at work. I hope you'll save us some time for another visit with Valentine, when you will again hear what happens when you let George do it.
Personal notice. Danger's my stock and trade. If the job's too tough for you to handle, you got a job for me, George Valentine. Write full details.
You remember Charlie, who used to live around the corner? Poor fellow. Always had a problem. He was forever trying to make square pegs fit into round holes. Nobody thought he'd do it. Then one day he did. He shoved his mother-in-law down the garbage disposal. But that's doing it the hard way. It would have been much easier to let George do it. At least George Valentine could have gotten Mama out of the house in one piece. Yeah, you never know when George will come in handy. Now take Jerry Mace, for instance. He's the guy standing over there on the crowded railroad platform. He's waiting to catch a train home to wifey. But I don't think he's going to make it.
Come on, give me my change. I'm trying to get the 5:15. Thanks. Oh, excuse me. Pardon me, lady. Excuse me, that's my... All right, so it's not the 5:15. Well, look who wants to read the newspaper. Who's following who, friend, you or me? Come on, loosen up, what are you... Hey, look out! Let go of my...
And so instead of making the 5:15, Jerry Mace caught the Heavenly Express. Hope he had the right ticket, because it's a long ride with no return. Speaking of tickets, my friend here always has the right one for you. All aboard, conductor. That was a streamlined spiel if I ever heard one. Now let's see if we can find out what caused Mr. Mace to do a jackknife onto the railroad tracks.
It's Jerry Mace.
Yeah, that's who it is, all right. Or was.
One of my boys who went out to get the body said he thought he recognized him. Thought he was a friend of yours, Valentine. That's why I got you down here to my office so fast.
Wait a minute, Lieutenant Johnson. Didn't he have any identification?
Pockets were practically empty, Miss Brooks. Wallet, stuff in his side pocket gone.
So he must have been slugged first, robbed, and then shoved in front of the train, huh,
That's
George?
right, Miss Brooks. Otherwise, it might have looked like he'd just fallen or maybe even jumped off that station platform to kill himself.
Sure, he was a nice guy. But you don't have to beat around the barn to prove it was murder.
What do you mean?
He just got a new job a couple of months ago. Private investigator for the independent insurance company.
For what?
Yeah, you heard me. Was anything at all left in his pockets?
Handkerchief, couple of theater stubs. Things are over there.
He used to carry a blue notebook, George, remember? That he'd write up his cases and...
Jefferson theft case.
Ah.
I remember now. Insurance bulletin. Independent insurance company. Yeah. Yeah, that's the insurance company in the case, all right.
What are you talking about?
Swedish match killing. 50,000 taken. And before that, the Prairie Bank job. All one man. Prairie Dog, the boys call him.
Clear it up, Lieutenant.
The one man I've wanted to get more than anyone else in the world. 6 unsolved crimes in the past 2 years. One of them a murder. Each time by the same guy. Dumb crimes. Clues all over the place. But we've never been able to catch him.
What's that got to do with the independent...
He's sloppy. Leaves cigarettes on the floor when he cracks a safe. Uses a funny black kind of Swedish safety match. Wears a pair of greasy gloves. Oh, we know lots of things, but we can't catch up.
Lieutenant, I ask you what
His
it had
last crime was another robbery-murder. That insurance company a friend here worked for got hooked.
Oh, so that might have been the case Jerry was working on.
Prairie Pawn Shop.
What, George?
Hock your shirt, we'll loan you another. Yeah, it's a pawn ticket. Slipped down through a hole in his pocket, I guess, into the lining of his coat. No date on it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to find out for sure what Jerry Mace was working on. From the independent insurance company.
It's after 6 o'clock, Lieutenant.
I know their office will be closed, but in a little while I ought to be able to find somebody.
What's the Prairie? What is it?
Didn't you ever hear it called that? Commercial Street, lower end, from front to third.
You mean it's a district right here in town?
Sure. In the daytime, it's industrial. Night's another matter. Shadows don't even trust the street lamps. Every man for himself, and the devil has to pay admission.
Yeah, nice place.
That's where this Prairie Dog killer of yours comes from?
Maybe, I don't know. That's why I want to check what Mace was doing.
Okay. Come on, Angel, we're leaving too.
Where are you going, Valentine?
To hock my shirt and see what I get in exchange.
Closed. George, the shop's closed.
Yeah.
Anyway, I don't understand why you're so interested.
Angel, why would Jerry hock anything? He's always had all the dough he needs.
Oh, well.
Unless he was interested in the place. Or unless it was somebody else's ticket he picked up for some reason. Or unless this place had some connection with the merchant.
$60 a month.
What in the...
You want it or don't you? Utilities paid until the 5th. 60 in advance, and I won't take a check. If you don't want it, loiter somewhere else. I'm nervous about the plate glass.
Want what, for heaven's sake?
I own the building. What do you think? I'm out walking for my constitution?
Hold it, brother. The hock shop here is for rent?
Yeah, tenant just closed up today. Name was Felix. Very substantial citizen. Always paid in advance. Can't you read the sign? Here.
Yeah, George. Out of business. Store to let.
Yeah, we didn't notice.
All right, now you do. Think you want it? Let me know. Choice location.
Yeah, sure.
Well, George, at least this is one lead you can cross off your... What's the matter? I read you the sign.
I'm reading between the cracks.
What?
Yeah, there's a light between the cracks. Premises aren't quite empty yet. Let's try one of the side street doors. Hello? Anybody here?
You said the man's name was Felix, didn't he, George?
Hello, is anybody...
What are you doing here?
So here, I guess. We're just...
Shh. Come on, stop blowing your nose.
I'm talking to somebody else.
Yeah.
Take it easy. Just wanted to see you, that's all, Felix.
Can't you read signs? Now go away, stranger. I'm busy. Try more the next block.
I don't want to hawk anything. Oh, here, like a smoke? Smoking's cheaper than eating, you know. Keeps the stomach quiet.
Beat it, I said. You want a handout, stick to soup kitchens. I've got an inventory to take.
Please, Felix, listen. Hey, tell me, somebody says you loan money on things.
What do you think a hock shop does? Bake donuts?
Yeah, but I mean...
Stranger, for the love... Oh. What have you got?
Wristwatch.
Yeah, let me see it.
Yeah, my grandfather gave it to me. Wonderful man. Pretty valuable, don't you think?
George.
Yeah, Brooksy, watch this.
Your grandfather, huh? Only, of course, it's a lady's wristwatch.
I know. Guess he must have bought it for my grandmother, don't you think?
Piece of junk. But all right, come out back here a second.
Uh-oh.
Pieces of junk are worth something sometimes, though, don't you think? You see,
your name Felix?
Yes, that's right. What is this, open house?
Well, we want to see you, that's all.
I know, everybody does. I'm out of business at the side door, too.
If you gentlemen wish to discuss something, I'm...
No. Give me that thing. And you stick around, tall boy. Sit down, sister. I'll only be a minute.
Really, I could come back on
Give it to
Sunday.
me, I said.
Yeah.
Get it here in the light. Look at that. Rhinestones aren't even real. Your grandfather got taken. Shut up. Hello, Prairie Pawn Shop. Oh, hello, Sergeant. Well, the same to you. But look, Sergeant, I'm locking up my place, and I... Yeah, okay, let me have the description. Brown hair, skinny, short. Look, I've got other things to do than watch for a stolen wristwatch, huh? Wait a minute, you say the guy sniffles? Hey, you! Stop him! Stop him! Stop that guy! Officer, grab him! Let somebody else wear himself down. Well, you were a great help, tall boy.
Let him go.
All right, so who cares? Great neighborhood, huh? Classy type of people? Sister, what do you think of having a shop where guys like that come in? What's the matter?
Want to use his phone, that's all.
Well, if it's all the same to you,
Just looking, that's all.
What's the idea?
Well, the phone's dead, isn't it? Kind of a convenient call from his friend the sergeant, wouldn't you say, Brooksy? I wondered why you brought that guy back in here. Where's the button? Oh, yeah, here we are. Sure. Step on the button, it rings. Not bad. Bum walks in, obviously trying to peddle a stolen watch.
So you step on the bell and pretend to get a call from a police sergeant.
And then the bum runs away, leaving you the watch. Nice clear profit. How to steal from a thief.
Great neighborhood. Classy type people.
All right. It's no skin off of your neck, is it?
No.
The Prairie. Gotta watch yourself in the clinchers in these parts, tourist.
George, what did Lieutenant Johnson mean about Swedish matches?
What?
Look. And it's black, too. It was a safety match.
Let me see that. Yeah. Now sit down, Buster. You and I are going to have a little talk.
No, George. It was the other man, the sniffy one who dropped it. It was when he lit his cigarette coming in here. I remember.
You sure?
I'm positive.
Come on.
Headed up the alley, Valentine, but I cut him off. Chased him 3 blocks since Felix gave his yell, but I lost him.
Hey, listen, there's another cop's whistle. They must have got him on the next street.
Oh, no, they haven't. He cut down this side, then ducked in someplace just a second ago before...
He's killing him! He's killing him!
Through here, back at the barber shop.
Yeah.
You like a shave, huh? Well, I'll give you a shave. Close to the skin from Tony, huh? I'll show you coming into my shop.
There he is.
Like
He's got him.
this.
All right, Tony, you can get off his chest now.
A lady I have under the machine. He come running into my shop. She could pull her hair out by the root.
He was just trying to find a way through the alley, I guess.
Oh, I catch him. Tony catch him. I chase him. First he tried to fight me.
Stop waving that razor around.
I could have sliced his ears.
All right, we said. Come on. On your feet, Sniffy.
Thanks. Yeah, much obliged.
Oblige, he says.
Oh, hey, look, mister. I didn't steal no watch. I didn't do nothing.
Oh, assault, battery, trespassing, scaring to death a woman under the machine.
Keep your shirt on, Tony. There's probably a reward for catching prairie dogs.
What? What are you talking about? I'm getting out of here.
Oh, no, you don't. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, Sniffy. We'll forget the watch. You're under arrest for what's called suspicion of murder.
That boy Valentine's just full of good news, ain't he? He can toss more accusations around than a politician at a 4th of July picnic. Now, do you really think little old Drizzlepuss is the nefarious prairie dog? I can't go for it. Get it? Gopher? Prairie dog? Swell. Well, while you kick it around, let's see what old groundhog here can unearth. Dig me, pal? Say, do you remember when you were a kid how you liked to put pennies on the railroad track just to see what would happen when the choo-choo train ran over it? Well, there's a character around town called the Prairie Dog who has, shall we say, modernized this little prank. Instead of using pennies, he started using people. And you know what happened? It worked. However, this does not set well with George Valentine, as he figures it will give the railroads a bad name if they have to start putting body catchers instead of cow catchers on the front of locomotives. So, he sets out to do something about it. So far, all he's been able to find is a little sniffle-nosed character who's long on alibis and short on handkerchiefs. Meanwhile, the cops are busy, too. Bless their little hearts.
There, you see that? File we've drawn up on all the prairie dog cases.
Let's see.
That same kind of match has been found in every single one of them.
Why, I wonder?
Because the guy's dumb, Miss Brooks. Also because he smokes.
Big logic.
No, look there. Each one was a robbery that took some time. Makes sense?
Yeah. In one, a safe was blown, and another, a combination was worked out.
Well, is Sniffy a clever enough man to...
Guy gets nervous. He smokes while he works. Grinds his cigarettes out into the floor. Here. Like that. Always the same way.
Oh, the janitor will love you.
You can't buy those matches in stores. Try it sometime. Sniffy's cigarette was the same brand, too. Cheap, but not too popular.
I didn't see any greasy gloves on him.
That friend of yours, Jerry Mace, who got killed, was definitely working on finding the prairie dog. His office said he was working on a hot lead today, but they didn't know what it was.
You'll have to say more than that, Lieutenant.
Before you'll buy that it was probably the guy he was after who killed him? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Sniffy can't offer a single explanation as to where he was at the time of any one of the prairie dog crimes. Also, we've already turned up a witness who says he saw Sniffy on that station platform this evening when Mace was killed.
Why didn't you say so in the first place?
How good a witness?
That's why I didn't. For skeptics like Valentine, I'm waiting to get some more witnesses so I
Come on, let's go down and see Sniffy, huh?
All right. If you don't believe me, watch him hammer the nails in his own coffin.
Now, you understand I want to cooperate all I can, gentlemen. Just a simple misunderstanding. Oh, I don't blame you. I know how these things can happen.
Why'd you steal that wristwatch you tried to sell to Felix, Snippy?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked me, because I've been trying to explain to this other gentleman.
Can it? Valentine, we can't find any record of it being stolen.
Well, of course you can. See, my grandfather...
Can it, I said.
Yeah, well, I just want you to understand. Now, I have stolen things before. I've even been to jail for it. I certainly wouldn't do a thing like that again.
Ah, so you've got a record, too, huh?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they'll find it out sooner or later. I might as well be honest, don't you think? Just like that business of the station platform, it's suddenly occurred to me that I was there this evening.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, it was just hard for me to remember. Oh, not that I was there when any murder took place, but, well, I find the interurbans a very cheap place to sleep, and there are always plenty of newspapers to read, and so you see, I generally am at almost every station in town every day.
Speaking of coffin nails, Johnson.
Oh, would you like a cigarette? Excuse me. Of course.
Oh, thanks. New brand, huh? New matches, too.
I only want to be helpful, that's all.
Hold it. Where'd you get these? Didn't they take his stuff away from him, Johnson, when they dressed him in the faded suit?
Oh, I suppose one of the
Yeah, let's
guys...
see.
Hey, get away from me. Those are mine. You can't...
Sort of full pockets you wear, Buster.
Cut it out, Snippy.
Candy bar, package of gum.
Well, none of that stuff is worth more than a few cents. Not any of it. The man's got to be comfortable, doesn't he?
Where'd you get it? Yeah, even a cigar.
A what? Hey, that's mine. That's one of my cigars.
A very good cigar, Lieutenant. I meant to thank you.
But how in the love of...
Our friend here's a pickpocket, Johnson. Simple as that. The big suspect.
Oh, for Pete's...
Of course, none of it's worth more than a few cents. You see, I've mended my ways. I wouldn't touch anything valuable.
Telephone for you, Lieutenant.
Yeah. Kill this guy for me, Valentine.
Is it wrong for a man to like his little comforts?
You took this stuff from the guards, huh? From anybody who's been near you, right?
Well, perhaps.
Just like the Swedish matches and special cigarettes you might have taken from anybody.
Well, it's an embarrassing thing.
But who? Come on, remember. Where'd you get those matches?
I wish I knew. Might have been anybody, I guess. Anybody I bumped against.
Oh, brother.
Oh, Felix himself, I suppose. Come to think of it, a man like Felix is much more the criminal type.
Shut up.
What?
Go on. We're letting you out of here. You've given me enough bad ideas for one night. Felix isn't the Prairie Dog, I can tell you that right now.
Well, I was only...
Because Felix happens to be dead. Murdered. That's Felix, all right. How about it, Sergeant?
Another Prairie Dog, sir. Fits all the patterns.
Been hit over the head.
Flawed instrument, grease stains on the paperweight there, same as on the briefcases.
Motive robbery, huh?
Sure. A pirate like this guy Felix must have made a pretty penny in his
look
time.
out. Don't stand there, sir.
Huh?
A couple of marks on the floor, that's all.
Hey, where's this landlord? Did you find him?
Yeah. Come in here, will you?
Sure. Say, ain't this a tragedy, though? It shows you never can tell.
His name's Calgary, George. I've been talking to him in the other room.
But I didn't say much. How could I? Left Felix here before you people came. You people saw me.
Never mind the alibi, friend.
Says he was here helping Felix pack before, George.
Pack?
Yeah, going to Florida. Fly to Nassau. He made his pile.
What do you mean?
Gonna retire. That's why he closed out his shop. Casting all the stuff he owned. Had a briefcase full of securities and stuff, and a roll of green goods in his suitcase that would have choked a horse.
Who knew that Felix would be ripe for robbery right now?
Jerry Mace, for one, George. Maybe that's why he was interested in Felix's place today.
Yeah, I thought of that, but who else?
Well, I guess most everybody in the neighborhood, friend, must have had some idea what was going on. Felix was a pirate. Wouldn't take much to figure he was worth knocking over. But knowing his exact schedule, the fact he'd be late in the shop tonight, be leaving from here and so on, well, maybe not so many.
Uh-huh.
Bit more than just you, I suppose.
Don't think I'd fall into that one, do you? I wasn't born yesterday, tourist.
Lieutenant, come here. Take a look. Tennis shoes.
Huh?
Marks from them, I mean. The killer was wearing them. On the floor, you see? Same as in the last Prairie Dog case. Same type shoe.
What are you trying to do, rub it in? Every time we learn more and more about less and less. Clues.
I just thought you'd want to know. The pattern is so...
Cigarettes, matches, greasy gloves. But did we get any fingerprints? No. I tell you, this Prairie Dog is one guy who
Take it easy, Lieutenant.
Valentine, he could be practically anybody in this entire city. He's killed 2 people today, and we haven't moved 1 inch closer toward catching him.
Yeah, I get the general idea. Only then I changed it.
Huh?
I decided I've heard enough. And if I'm right about what I've heard, then it's all over but the shouting.
Now, look,
Suppose you and
Mastermind.
Caligari here just sit tight, and I'll be back later. Come on, Angel. Let's go to work on a Prairie Dog while he's still out in the open.
I wonder what George will use to dig up a prairie dog. Could be a shovel, maybe. I know what I'd use. A spade. Sam's spade. Not that I haven't confidence in Valentine, mind you. I do. Just like I have confidence in what my friend here has to say to you. Now let's see what George and Brooksy have dug up on the Prairie Dog situation. Oh, that's them getting out of that car over there.
I don't see him, George. I hope we made it in time.
Yeah, well, he had to change his clothes again.
If he's not here, I don't know where we'd ever find him.
Yeah, coming down the other steps.
Hello, Sniffy.
Evening, miss.
Well, welcome to the fresh air. No, wait, I need your help.
Oh, sure. Yeah, some things I'm pretty handy at.
Well, it's just helping my memory, that's all.
Wish I had one.
You know, I walked into this case because a friend of mine was killed by the Prairie Dog. He was getting too close, I guess. In fact, from the location of that railroad platform, he was probably on his way to see Felix. He'd nosed around there before, so I guess Jerry had practically figured what the next crime was going to be.
That so?
Or maybe he'd figured how simple all of these Prairie Dog cases really are. Figured the clues. Figured why the clues were always the same.
I don't get any of this, mister.
What I didn't figure until now was what it was I walked into myself this evening. When I walked into Felix's place. That's where the memory comes in.
Yes, we walked in by the side door, and then we heard Felix moving around, and he spoke, and we thought he was speaking to us.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I know. I was there. You see, I had this watch of my grandfather's.
Yeah, that's
and,
right. But I'm trying to remember what it sounded like when you and Felix walked into the back room. Remember? 2 of you coming into the back room, but only 1 pair of footsteps. His.
I don't get it.
And I remember the same thing when he pretended to get that phone call and you ran. You didn't make any noise.
I don't get it.
I suppose you dragged that watch in just so he'd invite you to the back room, where people would be less likely to see when you robbed and killed him.
I don't get it.
Why don't you say something different? What we walked in on was murder. That's the real reason you ran.
Look, you're worse than that lieutenant. I didn't kill Felix. Remember? I was in jail.
You weren't in jail when Jerry Mace was killed.
Huh?
You don't understand why the same clues were always left by the Prairie Dog. Of course not. You're dumb like everybody else, so it never occurs to you those clues, the cigarettes ground out, the special matches, the greasy glove marks, the tennis shoes, were only to make people think in terms of one man. But suppose the Prairie Dog is 2 men, working together.
And how to fool people. Not bad. Each would have an alibi one time or another. All sorts of neat ramifications.
That's a pretty word. And you're trying to make something against me just because you think I was wearing tennis shoes. Well, you don't make sense. Look. That's leather. Best pair in the city don't. And don't the rest of your memory work? Felix gave a yell. The cops started after me. I've been in jail ever since. This is the same pair I got dragged in with. No spares in my pocket, see?
That's why I'm so sure it's you. You've changed shoes.
When could I change my shoes? What?
You had to change them. Your murder of Felix was interrupted by us, and there you were with all the evidence ready for planting. Well, you could save yourself on the matches and cigarettes by that little pickpocket exhibition in jail. But if you'd been caught with the shoes on, they would have hung you.
So, I wished a pair of hard ones out of the air, mister. When could I have?
So simple it hurts, Buster. Because there's only one person who could be your partner. Only one person you could have given the evidence to, so he could go ahead and kill Felix and get you off the hook as well as collect the loot. Only one person you could have run to when you knew the cops had you surrounded and would nab you any second. The guy who caught you. That barber, Tony.
Yeah? Is that so?
It's the only way it could work, Buster. Just like the only way Jerry Mace could have had his pockets emptied before he was shoved in front of that train. He couldn't have been slugged in public and then rolled and then pushed, could he?
George, that's right.
Yeah, Angel, we missed that before. His outside pockets were empty. In the crowd, the only way that could have happened was if a pickpocket did it before Jerry even knew he was there. So you hung yourself on that one, Buster, showing off your ability. Now, come on. We're going to go see the barber about a two-headed haircut.
Look out, George, he's...
Thanks for giving me an excuse, Buster.
So it was Sniffles after all. Say, I know a good way to save the state some money. Instead of sending him to the chair, thereby using up a lot of electricity, just put Junior in a cell with a box of paper handkerchiefs and let him blow himself to death. Oh, well, it's a dog's life at best. So before they put me back in the pound, let me say that Robert Bailey played George Valentine with Virginia Gregg as Brooksy. The story was by David Victor and Jackson Gillis, and that baying in the background was that old hound dog, Eddie Dunstetter. I hope you'll save some time for another visit with Valentine, when you will again hear what happens when you let George do it.